I don't, but it'd be a heck of an idea. We talk about effort all the time. We point it out. I mean, I just listen to what Jeff talked about. I went up to the Bernardrick the other day. I'd love it. I mean, just the fact that elevating everybody around him, I think that's huge for Bernardrick. I think it's huge for the linebackers, for the defense. I think it's huge for the offense. Just to see somebody that excited to be out there with an opportunity to get better.
Coach Mullen talked in the spring, and we saw it some with the 2 tight end sets. I mean, obviously you've coached them all and coached them several years, but does that kind of change the way you coach them, or still the same technique, same steps?
There's some variance to it. I mean, shoot, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So I mean, there's some different things that are going on, and what it's done is it's tried to specialize. What Malcolm's skill set is different than Rufus's skill set. Brandon's skill set's different than Christian's skill set. So what it does is it kind of makes you focus as a coach. How am I going to put Malcolm in the best position to be successful? How am I going to put Rufus in the best positions to be successful? So I guess you could say it's changed from that standpoint. But the basic things are what you do, blocking and tackling, and that's unless your name's Camp, Stag, or Rockney.
Is it more challenging or fun to have so many different skill sets, as you mentioned, because that's a wide variety of guys out there?
Well, to me, I love it because outside of Tyler Russell, the people who have to know the most of what's going on are the tight ends. They're not really tight ends. They're wide receivers, they're running backs, they're offensive linemen. They protect. They're in the run game. They got routes. They got to recognize coverages, blitzes, fronts. I mean, you have to be a special individual to sit in my meeting room.
How much? I mean, this looks like you got the most depth at tight end. I think 5 scholarship guys at tight end. I mean, it gives you some.
Six.
Okay, so that gets
I ran out of fingers.
The fact that you've had to count is better than it has.
It's a lot better than it's been in the past. That's for sure. There's a lot of depth there, and there's not a lot of experience.
Right.
But there's a lot of depth, and I love the room. I love the potential in the room. Thankful for 29 practices before we got to kick off when it counts.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about this last night. The most experienced guy in the room is Malcolm. He's missed half the year, his 2 years.
Yeah.
For the unfortunate things.
Yeah.
So you went from a 6-year guy and Marcus, who had been around and played in every SEC stadium, had success against all of them, to a little less experience. But it is a deep position, and it's finally a nice problem to have.
How's Turtle's transition to that age package?
He is moving in the right direction. He has unbelievable skill set that has to be transformed into the team set. And that's right now his biggest challenge.
What does that mean?
He does a great job in drills. When there's 21 other guys out there running around, sometimes he reverts to not having played the position before. So he does a great job in individual things. He has to learn to take that into the next step when you have to compete against somebody else instead of just practicing the skill set.
A guy like him and his versatility and other guys, does that play the fact that State's kind of gotten away from, say, a fullback in the offense, and now you have these kind of...
Yeah, that's kind of how it's got smushed together. Just losing guys like Hemphill and Adrian Marcus and William Shumpert and those guys, they have value to a football team. You got to find a way to replace it. And, the linebacker room's kind of deep, too. And a good athlete like Christian, you got to find ways to get him out there to help you be successful.
I know he just got here last spring, but and he's down behind some experienced guys. But Artemis Samuel, it's kind of weird to see a guy that big still have the soft hands that he does, because he's impressive the way he catches the ball.
Artemis, once he figures it out, I hate using this word, but he has the potential to be an outstanding player here. And I hate using the word potential because it means you haven't done it yet. Mm-hmm. As a coach, you want to use the word productive. But he has all the skills that you want at that position. He's got power. He's got soft hands. He can do it. It's just going to be the process of teaching him how to become an SEC football player.
How difficult is it coaching, like you said, kind of inexperienced guys with it in such a difficult position where there is no? I mean, wide receivers have their definition of running backs. Tight ends, you got to be like you said, you got to be an offensive lineman, a wide receiver, a running back. Maybe
it's a challenge sometimes because you have to cover so much stuff. Sometimes you got to pick and choose what you're covering in a meeting. It's all important, But you have to prioritize, hey, we were bad in the run game at this, so that's going to take precedence in the things that we have to fix in the pass game. So it really makes you specialize your meeting, and what you try to do sometimes is cover a little bit of everything, where maybe Rufus doesn't get him to see himself in the pass game that he needs to correct. But Brandon didn't get to see the run game fixes, so you got to learn from each other. Otherwise, it's not going to work out too good.
Watching the drills